tuned in
to the one and only, the Strategized Network,
TSN.
Say what's up to the fellas. Your hosts, Slim Cat, Deacon Weezo, and Mr. Hollywood. You know what it is.
Yeah, you heard the usual intro, but today we're doing something just a little bit different. And, shout out to my brother from another. He know I love him. That's my brother right there. Nobody can tell me nothing different. And want to give a nice, brief, good introduction, though. Brief and good. Not brief and fast. Brief and good.
Brief and good.
Yeah, brief and good. I've known this guy for a long time, as long as I've been married. First couples friend that I made when I met my wife, through what a lot of people think is extinct. A good support cast when you're at a church, because being that we are the church. I'm about to go somewhere else with this. Point of the matter is that we met each other in good soil. This is a good brother, good friend of mine, and also on top of that, a godparent to my sons. So shout out to AT. What's going on, brother?
What up, my dog? What up, man? So glad to be here. So glad to be back, to be able to just have this time with you, with family, to see my godsons, and man, just to be able to have this conversation. But we go back.
That's the truth, brother.
We go back, man. As you're saying everything, I just think about the reality of what we've experienced, what we've been able to walk through, the difficulty, but the reality of community and family, and being able to, find resilience, find openness, find avenues to be vulnerable with one another. And you don't find that everywhere.
Especially when you're like a foreigner. Like, my family is originally from Tallahassee. I believe I told you that. But aside from that, I'm not from there. Like, I wasn't born there. So there's still a learning curve that's in there to get there, and to, we both went to FAM. So that's also a mutual.
Shout out to the Rattlers.
Shout out to the highest of 7 hills.
Burning on them 7 hills. Boy,
but yeah, man, that time frame too was also really relevant, and why I think we hit it off so fast. But yeah, man, we met in a good church setting, and I believe that we were both in the same seasons of life. It doesn't even really matter about the age gap, because I look at you as a brother,
right?
And so for that reason, we just was able to just shoot straight to the point really fast, to where we were able to just meet up in the same directions. We knew we were going in the same directions. We didn't have to have the same exact interests, but in the same directions. We didn't have kids at that time. We were both married and trying to strive to serve God in our marriage. And to me, that's foundational enough to be able to build on. But you still do have to have similar interests. And I was so blessed that when we connected, that I was able to see your spirit really quick and fast. Guy's very talented, this guy, you give him a pair of drums, man. I mean, I don't even think he needs 2 drumsticks. I think he can use 1 drumstick and play like he got 2. I mean, the guy's just. I think he has a drumstick in his chest. I think that's he definitely dances to the beat of his own drum. That's like a legit model for you, bro. I mean, this dude can play. There's only 2 people I've seen in my life that has that fierceness on the drum that I've been able to see personally. So
Bruh.
That's for me, that's different. People can say, "Oh man, I know better people." Give my brother his flowers while I'm talking. So, but you and my auntie, man, like my aunt when I was getting raised in church. I mean, she used to beat them drums like she was about to break the drum. I thought she was gonna pop the thing. That's how it sounds when you hitting it, but it's not a bad thing. It's just that you give that drum no mercy, bro. You make it work.
Drums crying over there, but please stop hitting me. man. I got to see your aunt play at some point. Then just hearing this, man. But I appreciate you, bro, man. It's a gift, that I didn't know that I'd still be able to use, especially after going through my season of life, being in school, and you get married and you start to have kids and life picks up. Facts, and you start to you try to wonder, can you still dream again? Can you still imagine? Can you still hold the things that you once held valuable in the same light of what you're trying to do, building family and community? And there's moments where you feel like it's just kind of lost.
Very true, brother. Could not have said it better. But yeah, when we met, this is going on my 8th year of marriage. So shout out to my beautiful wife.
Come on now. Shout out to
I appreciate you, baby. So 8 years now. This will be 8 years, man, and it don't even seem like it because the exact duration of my marriage is always going to reflect on the amount of time that we've been blessed to have you and Steph in our lives. So that's always going to be somewhere in my consciousness when I think about that. I think about other milestones that parallel with that. And in the duration of our friendship / brotherhood has been able to run neck and neck with that. So for that, I'm truly thankful and blessed with that, man. And but yeah, man, when I met Aaron, aka AT, we were both on a spiritual journey. We were both in a church that we no longer go to.
Yeah.
I was getting. You see where I was going, didn't you? I didn't even know that's where I was going.
But it went there. It went there. And that's. Yeah, man, and so much growth that we experience, but also difficulty in a lot of ways, and the season of life where you were preparing to transition, into different work opportunity, you and your wife, and we were transitioning into a new place where we just, it was a new season that we needed to step into that we didn't even realize, and it was hard to step into that. The fact that you're in a place for so long and you kind of get comfortable and you're just like, is there anything beyond this? Is there anything new? And then being able to say, I'm going to step out in faith and say, hey, God, I trust that you're wanting to break this sense of comfort that I've held so deeply to, that you still want to grow us. You still have new things for us. You still have new relationships and new people to connect with. It's just hard when you've sat there and you've been serving in a place or just been in a place for so long and not wanting to go.
Facts. That part, because I think when you're dealing with the what you believe to be as the eternity,
Yes.
You know, our eternity is thinking that, hey, let me say it with some more ownership. Not thinking. You better know.
Yeah.
You better know in your heart that you're spending eternity with Christ, and if not, then you know, then that to each his own with that. But I'm speaking to my fellow believers out there. My fellow believers.
Where y'all at?
Where you at? Where you at? Oh, I see the comments now. Yeah, Hayes, I see y'all. but you know, when you need your fellow believers, man, that small group that we were in, man, was so instrumental. That shout out to Fran and Randy. They were just, you know, they're just a godsend. They were a good hub for all of us to plug into, and for that gave us the space to connect, because between your family, between Jimson and his family, between Corey and his family, I mean, you know, we all connected together really fast in a short amount of time, because my wife and I were only in Tallahassee together for a year. Yeah. And but look how much time that now. This has been 7 years beyond that we haven't lived in the same city. And it just goes to show you, you know, the strength of relationships that's rooted in Christ. And so you know, that's something that's dear to my heart, and I know it is to yours, because I know your diligence and how you serve others, not only in your vocational trade, but also just what you do is as being a person that is always a people person. One thing about AT. He's also shout out to him that he's a counselor. He has counseled many before he even had that hat on. You know, that's his makeup. That's his build. He's a great listener. So he's listening intently, and he's in his first approach to that conversation is restoration. He wants to restore wherever his discernment tells you that he thinks that you left off at. And so his words are very intentional with trying to bridge the gap. And so when he started into counseling, you know, it did not surprise me, because he was already an unofficial counselor, working at FSU with the athletes. He's been doing that for years, and not just in one sport. You know, he's been instrumental with trying to not only just be a follower of Christ in his free time. He's also been able to use that in the times when he's getting paid, because who he is who he says he is. And so that's why he can be able to get a check to be exactly who he is. And, so you know, you can't find that, man. I've been struggling for 40 some plus years now to try to be in a space where I can really, you know, let my hair down that I don't actually have.
Let it down. Let it down, bro.
Let it down, brother. You know, so I'm still trying to get there, and we're gonna touch on some of that today. But yeah, man, you know, today we're going to speak on in this special episode. I have never in this year and some change now doing the Hollywood show, I haven't found an appropriate time to really things that have, and that God is using me to strive after this platform, this level and depth in conversation. So I'm blessed to have my brother here who actually wears a hat of being a counselor, to meet me in the crossroads, like Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Meet me at the crossroads.
my man over there, he's meeting me right where I need to be met at, and we're going to have a nice conversation that's kind of detailing some of these things that I can't really speak on a regular basis, because my goal always in the show is to push others.
Yeah.
So shout out to our comedian Deacon Weezo, who was just on the MREC show last night and wrecked it, did a great job. Shout out to him. Shout out to KT, who brings us the main thing every time. That's his segment. And shout out to Big Frank, who does Let's Be Frank segment. So, that's my job. My job is to make sure that they look good. And when they look good, well, guess what? I'm going to look good too.
Come on now.
So that's the goal, man. My goal is always that. And in this new season of life that I'm striving towards in this journey, as I shared with my brother, and now I'm sharing it with you all, is that, I too have been shown a vision of being an official counselor, because I know I've been an unofficial counselor in many ways, because my heart is geared towards that. Shout out to my men's group out there, the Hope Haven men's group. We do that every week, speaking on a lot of these subjects that you Christian folk, you religious folks,
believe in folk.
You believe in folks. That y'all would turn your nose up at like trash that's been in your kitchen too long, and that's just not the that's not the Johnny Appleseed that we need tending to that and making sure there's some growth there. So we're all about growth, and again, with my brother over here, I've seen him grow, and I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than to see something that was in the ground, and then you see the metamorphosis as it grows. You see the caterpillar that comes out, and with the wings. Like, I've been able to see that with this brother, because we've been in each other's lives for going on over 8 years. So if you haven't seen it, here's like in that movie with the Wayne brothers, message. Message. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, bro? If here's a message for you,
man.
If you are around things that long and you have not seen no growth, you need to pray on that.
Ooh.
If it's the people you've been around, if it's the things that you have been visualizing, if it's the things you've been praying about, and you haven't seen any growth, you pray about that.
You can say that again, bro. I just wonder what type of soil you might be sitting on.
It's some rocky. That's that rocky soil that Jesus was talking.
Sitting there for 8 years and ain't nothing happening. You might have to reevaluate your group a little bit. Pray on that.
Real talk.
Reassess what you got going on if they're not pushing you toward what you should be or want to be doing.
It's real talk. I've seen this brother boost his resume, getting his master's. I've seen him become a father. I've seen him enrich his marriage. I've seen him enrich his friend groups. I've seen him enrich his church, and I've seen him to be able to transition from things that were just accents of his character to now they're more pronounced. I'm gonna put that in the rap song. It went from accents in his character that is more pronounced now. That's the type of life this guy's living in. Like I say, man, I'm thankful to have him on here, man. He's gonna be doing a little bit of Q&A with me here in a minute. But yeah, man, I pray that he's been able to see just a little bit of something sprout out of the ground with me. Other than these gray hairs that I'm coloring on my face right now. And I'm telling y'all that in confidence. So don't judge me.
Wisdom, dog. All that wisdom that's been flowing from your from your speech and from your life and in every part of what you do, man. And just shout out to you, bro. Just flowers to you, because you provided this platform to be able to allow those to be open, to be able to be authentic, and to be able to have a space where they can add value, not only to their community, but to those and beyond. And you have toiled. This was something that maybe you didn't think would continue, or something that you didn't think that you'd be able to continue doing, with the gift of storytelling, videography, gaining different access to different communities to tell those stories, but to be able to infuse faith in doing so. And your diligence in never giving up on that has been beautiful, bro. So hats off to you, flowers to you. I know you give out flowers, but I'm giving you some as well too, because you've worked diligently and maintained discipline with your family and your crew, you know, plus one addition, you know. Little man gonna be on these mics pretty soon, I'm sure.
That's a fact, brother.
telling his story, bro. So hats off to you, bro. I'm thinking about just this platform specifically and how special it is. How do you allow yourself to be vulnerable on this platform?
That's a good question, brother. Vulnerability, especially being a person who is willing to be transparent about mental health, and as it concerns with me, you know, vulnerability can be uncomfortable, to say the least. And so you know, I have to make sure that my circle around me is not compromised. And that's hard to do, because, you know, God tells us all the time, don't put your faith in man, because man falls short, and so do I. So I keep people around me in that circle who I can be able to give that grace and mercy to, because we know that everything that God has given us is in us. So it's all about us activating that. So I can choose to forgive. I can choose to overlook. I can choose to work together with, it should be at least the people that I choose to be around. I should be able to work with them if I can't work with anybody else. So that's very important for me, in my own way, of not only being able to be in the moment, but be able to plan. What am I doing next week? What am I doing next year? I have never been in a space to really visualize and actually do it. I've always had visions, but the difference between that, it's more like a fairy tale, is because it's just something that feels good, looks good.
Right.
Because none of the stuff that you can see around me just felt good. Because if it was that somebody gave it to me, and I can tell you most of what's around me wasn't given to me, and other than God giving me life to be able to now come back and tell the story.
Wow.
So yeah, when it comes to being vulnerable, I have to have that circle around me. So I already gave shout out to the fellas, just a few of the guys that I have a pleasure of working with on the Strategize Network, and I love connecting and collaborating with people. I did that when I was blessed to have a radio show for over 5 years.
Right.
That, you know, that was my go-to move. That's how I was so instrumental in the things that I was doing, is because people realized I was a real person. I'm not just here just to be strategic. I'm not here just about just an agenda that only makes me look good. So I pray that God just continues to make sure that that always comes out of my mouth more times than I say my own name. And so that way that it be, you know, that it's not something that I'm just foolishly thinking that, oh yeah, people know that. So you know, that's big for me. So vulnerability is to make sure that comes out of my mouth and my actions when I'm dealing with people, because I am limited on how I can deal with people. I don't define myself at it, but I am a disabled vet, and that's been, you know, a part of my identity that I've had to learn to not not let it own me, but I have to own it. And by me owning it, that means when it's mine, if I own this house, I don't have to live there all year. It's mine. So I can come there as a vacation house. So literally that's where I'm at now. I try to use my mental health deficiencies as a vacation home. It's mine. I live there, but I don't live there all the time.
Man, am I in therapy? Do I need to go get the box of tissues right now for myself? Because you speaking to this, man. And one of the things you mentioned is this pursuit. You've been in pursuit of this. This isn't something that you've sat back and kind of just watched kind of come to life, but this is something that you have pursued intentionally. And you mentioned having to have things activated inside of you to be able to do so. And I want to know, what are some of those activations that have made you passionate in this season of life? Like what's making you most passionate in this season of life that you're walking in?
I guess my best swing at answering that is just that, you know me, you know, I everything I deal with, even with food, is layers. Yeah. So, you know, I can't just have a sandwich. I got to have the extras. I got to have the mayonnaise. Yep. Well, I don't know why I said mayonnaise. I don't eat that. But you get what I'm saying? I got to have the lettuce, tomato. I got to have the extras. And that's, you know, the things that I'm passionate about. You said my passions. Your passions. You know, what's activating those. It's just the fact being that when I came home to make that burger, even though I know that I like a savory burger, I didn't get there and didn't plan it. I'm not going to get home and know that I want lettuce and tomato and know I ain't got it. Then get home and then have to go back out there and go get it. Because it's still out there. And so is a lot of opportunities for us. They're out there. But for to activate it for me and how I function, I have to already have those things in motion, because you can look in my tool room, brother. It's so many things that when I bought it, I wasn't even using it at the time. But God told me that you need to have it, because by the time that your vision becomes reality, you don't have time to run back to the store to go get the lettuce and tomato. You know, you need to have it here. And that was frustrating, because some of that stuff was still costing me at the time. So by the time that a lot of this vision that I'm now able to share with the public started to you know, get in place, you know, I was kind of anxious and overwhelmed at the same time, because I was anxious that God showed me the vision, I'm ready for it, but I was also overwhelmed that I got a lot of stuff here that I'm only like a jack and not a master in. I'm not a master in none of this stuff that you see around me, and I'm okay with that. But it costs to be the boss, though. So I on the backside, I can say it's mine, and I can take as long as I want to try to learn it. Some of this stuff is dated, you know, has expiration dates because of technology. Right. But I don't let that hold me, because it did. Because you know, I graduated from FAM back in 2015, and now we're in 2025. And so if I let the enemy tell me, your face is getting grayer, you know, your message is getting older, your responsibilities are getting broader. So how can you stay passionate about these same things? It's because I don't allow any of these things to be my God. I come in this office less than what I need to. I should be in here 5 days a week, but I'm not. So I'm not gonna cap, you know, because this ain't the only hat I wear. I love to come in here though. So when I come in here, I like it to smell how I want to smell. I like it to be just as left as it was when I got out of here last. I got my sons up in here making this into a playroom. You know, I like that. So that's what activates it, because coming in here, I gotta press a button to do this and turn this on, do that. That may seem simple, but in times past, in years past, when I had my equipment in the beginning, it was a lot of analogish type of set connections where you got to do all this at the same time. And that's very difficult for some people. It ain't difficult for my brother AT over here, because like I say, if he had 15 drums, he'll find a way with that one drumstick and hit them all at the same time and make it sound like a trap beat. So, you know, that's how he has more talent in his one finger than I have to try to extract everything in my body to try to match that. I'm just thankful that I'm not trying to compete with him, because I'd lose. So
hey man, well that's likewise, bro, because you got a lot of hats that you spinning as well too, and you you spoke to the layers, man. You spoke to these layers in the beginning that, I don't know if you ever had a burger, but you had a burger where you had stuff on it that you didn't like, and you like, man, for me, I'm like, why you put this ketchup on this burger? They gonna hate on me now because I don't. God knows I do not do ketchup, man. I cannot do ketchup. But sometimes you get those elements and those ingredients in your life that you don't see useful, that you've held on to, like you mentioned, for a long time. And I'm curious about the layers of belief that exist in our world, where we have layers of teaching that could be leading people astray. We have layers of teaching and behavior that we've had to maybe learn and we're trying to unlearn. I want to know about the layers that are happening in your life, or that have happened that you've had to unlearn, or potentially have restricted you from developing and who God wants you to be.
Man, that's a great question, brother. I'm gonna try not to get. I'm gonna try not to get lost in the sauce. There's a lot of that on that chicken
and the layers, that mayonnaise.
So I'm telling y'all right now, before I get too far into it, if I get lost in the sauce, just say that's my brother right there, and that's just how he is. I'm gonna try to get that from A to Z on this question. Things that I've had to unlearn, and how that religion has taught me those things is what I'm taking from that question. What I am unlearning, as I am the passions of my heart, my ministry. My ministry is that I am currently a father of boys that are turning into men. I can't have the same objectives if I had daughters. So in this season, nothing against daughters, y'all are beautiful. Y'all are just as equivalent to what a man is to God. It is his children that he loves. So I love my mother. I love my wife. I love all of my women in my life. My mother-in-law, who I don't even call her that, call her mom. My grandmother. Even my brother here, his wife. I look at her as a sister that I love. We embrace each other like brother and sister every time we see each other. So I'm not knocking women. I say all that so that somebody who tries to find a way to spin this, you the only one that's spinning. Because I ain't. So for me, as a man that is raising men in this season of my life, the gay issue is a big deal on how to not only own how I operate in it, around it, all those different ways how I might have to interact with it, because there's people I love that may be dealing with that. There may be issues that are outside of my control that I now have to condition my children on how to think and how it can influence them to respond, because I can't force them to respond in any way, but I can influence that. So speaking on issues like that, religion in the past, even my past childhood years in high school, where a lot more ignorancy was prevalent. I only knew one way to be able to put religion as a to counteract that. And as I know now, religion cannot counteract anything. Religion is only meant to know we need to come to the end of ourselves and we need a savior. So as I embark on this next stage, because I will be speaking on how I feel that young men need to also be very intentional on how they deal with the gay spirit. My mission is very plain and simple. What I'm unlearning is that I know that I'm not a judge, but I do know that God has put us on this earth to heal each other.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Him for forgiveness. So I don't need to be the one forgiving somebody that's gay. God does that. And I don't have the right to try to overimpose myself as the conduit for that. So I don't mix up scripture and try to take more authority than I have been given. But I can speak life into not only my own problems, but into things that I know in my spirit that my Bible tells me is not God's good, acceptable, and perfect will. So as in my pursuit of that, I my goal is to show what masculinity in Christ really looks like. So I'm not having the battle on having to define what gay is, but I define what manhood is. And then if there's the dysfunction, if the enemy is in that, then we can be able to see the line in the sand. I don't have to necessarily speak down on being gay, but I can speak up in an upward motion of what it is to be a man, and make sure that my actions for the people who are witnessing that, that they can be able to speak for me when I don't need to speak for myself. So men, we have to step up. Men, we have to not only let our words speak for us, but our actions. We not only have to say, well, just because it's okay for me, there's some things that I'm deficient in. If I'm deficient in them, why would I want to expose my son, my family, my loved ones in an area that I need to work on, other than letting them know that I'm working on that? It's okay to be able to be vulnerable like that. But if I got a dirty kitchen, that ain't the time for me to be cooking for you. I don't need to be serving out of there. I need to be in there cleaning. So stop trying to serve out that dirty kitchen and start cleaning in there. And that's how I feel when we have some of these subjects like being gay. It's like you trying to serve me some food out of a dirty kitchen. So that also is the guidelines that I use in how to like I say, rightly divide what God is telling me to say and what to own up for my own self, so that whatever my message is, that, and if I make a message, that I use the fingers to point at me. I think that gives people less opportunity to be offended. They're still going to be, And oh my God, when that happens, you better be smart enough to say that you called yourself out first, because best believe the boogeyman finna come out of the woodwork somewhere and say boo. And so just make sure that you cover your own issues first. They ain't got to be done, because we're not a finished product.
Right.
We're in process. So make sure my words say that. So when I speak, I have to make sure that my words are speaking not out of lack. See, I used to speak on as a begging Christian, God, please do this, like the Creflo Dollar and TD Jakes. And I still, I love you guys. Y'all are awesome. I've learned a lot of stuff from it. But I ain't got that. My sultry voice ain't doing the Johnny Gill version and the Barrett and the Gerald Levert. That'd be the closest thing I can do to try to do what y'all doing. But I'm not begging God for nothing, because He's giving me everything. So my words, when I speak on problems, I'm learning that religion. I'm unlearning that we're not begging God, because God, why am I begging Him when His word gives me all the promises that I need? And so all I need to do is, as you know too, brother, we speak it back to Him.
That's it.
We're giving Him His word back. I'm not coming out here trying to write a new rap. I gotta write raps. I'm glad that I ain't gotta write the Bible. It's already in there. It got a platinum album right there, and all I gotta do is remix it and make my own song and praise God with it.
seeing the reality of sometimes in life we often try to see the log. We see what we see as a log, but not notice the own log in our own eye, the branch in our brothers. And this reality of what you said, man, just saviorism, where we try to save others from what they're going through, as opposed to find a way to come into their kitchen while it's dirty. They might be trying to prepare and cook, but are we willing to be vulnerable enough to step into that kitchen to say, I know I'm going to get dirty too. I'm probably going to stink a little bit when I step into that kitchen, because it's not until we get to that place that we can actually help them understand how they want to clean. And we trying to come up with a solution as to how they need to clean their kitchen, and we don't even live in their house.
Facts. And most people, all they want to do is eat. They'll eat, but then that same person will eat. They ain't got enough integrity to be like, I just seen roaches in there. No, they'll say they'll take the plate that was offered, throw it in the trash, then talk about you. See, that's religion. That's what religion does. And I ain't that. I'm not that person. If I don't accept that, I'm not going to accept that food. I'm not going to consume that. I'm gonna tell you the same way how I walk my faith. Oh, I already ate.
You hungry? Nah, I'm good, man.
I already ate.
I'm good. You sure you don't want none of this?
I just came over here just to holler at you. That's all I came over here for. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
And I've had to say that for I don't need to say how many people. I've had to say it more than one time.
More than what you may have wanted to.
And my love language allowed me to do that intact. I didn't have to break them down. I didn't have to judge them, be like, man, bro, it's a roach right on your wall, bro.
It's a big roach.
But in my mind, I know that they know that already. So, hold on a second. We go improv. My wife is over here trying to tell me something. So give me just a second. I can't hear you, baby. Just open the door. Wow.
It's speaking, it's funny. I was thinking about what you were saying, just this reality of being in the kitchen. As you just really hit me with that one. And man, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen together, between
me sipping on wine, I'm speaking on my business. I'm sipping on that Jesus wine.
Yeah. You spend a lot of time in the kitchen, man. And over time, we saw brothers and other people come into the kitchen with us. And I think about, man, we had a men's group that was just going strong.
Facts.
We had a men's group that was going strong, where other brothers were coming into this kitchen with, we talked about the analogy of a dirty kitchen, and they were coming in and we were speaking about everything, man. I just wanted to know, like, as we were building that synergy, what was it like for you to help build that men's group, and what really inspired that for you as we came together?
Man, that picked up right after we left. That church that we went to. That church that we go to at the time. You know what I'm talking about. But it definitely was a unique season because we were kind of like hobos at the time,
bro.
Wife and me were on the road together, and I needed some masculinity. I needed it in a vial so that I could just be able to squirt some in my veins, because being around feminine energy all the time is not healthy for any man in any stage of his life. I don't care how assured you are of your masculinity. God gave us people for a reason, because we need to be able to use their seasoning to pour into the kitchen. You in there just trying to make some bland chicken. You need to call your brothers around there. He got a little cayenne pepper because he real hot. You got to learn from his hot lifestyle. You got to learn from the cool brothers like AT over there. You know, he may not even bring season. He gonna bring some ice over there to help you cool down. Drink is too hot. Let me bring you some ice for that iced tea.
Yeah, bro.
So you know, so we should not neglect gathering together. Women need it too, but I'm speaking on men now. I don't want to have to keep making the contrast for y'all for my women listeners. I'm not knocking y'all, but I'm talking to the men. So you know, having that space while I was confined into that truck for months on end, it was refreshing, and I was thankful that my wife, you know, I enjoyed our time. So it wasn't nothing about not enjoying my time with her, but you can't get all your anything out of one source. Otherwise we wouldn't need God. So I still needed my men bonding time to connect with the men that could pour into me in areas that I was needing, that I was thirsty in. And so that was my goal. Another way of in the past, as I said, with the radio show, trying to find an outlet to connect and serve others. You know, that's always been very near and dear to my heart. So that was just a way of me trying to use my resources at the time. I had good brothers, still got good brothers in my life. And so I was glad to not only be a part of that circle, but the fact being that y'all were able to connect too. Some were already connected because it was, you know, with you and Jimson and Corey, y'all already knew each other before me. But nonetheless, I'm thankful that we all were able to open up our circle and incorporate everybody into it. And then I brought my brother Robert, who's a pastor up in Virginia. You know, having him to pour in, and you and him had books that y'all were just starting to author some book series at that time. And so you know, it was just so many things that I was, you know, I was like in a candy store coming in here because I know enough about each one of your guys' stats on your sports card, you know, that I was able to feel like I was making a dream team. That's what I was feeling like. You know, everybody can't be Michael Jordan on the team. So I don't know who the Michael Jordan was, but nonetheless, we had the dream team. We had the Larry Bird. We had the Magic Johnson. We had everybody who had, you know, they was holding their own and bringing it in there, and was sure of their masculinity enough to be able to not only receive but to be humbled, because that's big and key to me when you're building in those situations with men, is that those men need to not only be able to be able to speak their truth, but they also need to be humbled by the truth. So that's what I was able to get out of that group, is that you know, and it was a season where I needed it, because now fast forward and being blessed to be a part of the Hope Havens men's group, you know, that planted some seeds and some confidence that now I recycled and been able to repurpose for the glory of God with these guys, man. So I'm very thankful for that.
Bro, you're doing some work. You're doing some work, man. Some serious work. And to be able to have that group, you said something so profound, and it was the reality of men who were able to hold the weight of assurance and vulnerability. That they're so assured in who they are, but they're also not so assured that they are afraid to be vulnerable.
Thanks.
They're afraid to actually share what's happening. And, you know, as I'm thinking about that reality of vulnerability, that reality of transparency, tell me about mental health aspects that you've had to navigate and how those matter to you now. You know, we as men, the narrative consistently, historically, systematically, systemically.
Yes. All those narratives
has been, don't open up, just be tough, just be a man, just be a man, could mean so many things to so many men, and quite often puts men in a place where they judge their emotions.
Facts.
So they suppress what they should feel. And when they feel shameful for feeling.
Yeah, that be a man motto is very ambiguous.
Yeah.
And again, shout out to my brother AT. He wears this counselor hat, so he's not really just asking these questions off of a piece of paper. He lives these, and he interacts with real human beings. That these questions have real answers and real consequences on these answers, depending on whether or not that person is living that or not. So, I was trying to put my C.S. Lewis hat on. I was trying to say something very profound.
It's right there.
And forgot about what the question was.
Still there. We talk about mental health matters, man, and the reality of just that be a man shirt we had to wear. That's Superman shirt we have to, we feel like we have to wear all the time, and the Kent Clark just, is really on the inside. We really just in the phone booth trying to talk to somebody about how we feel. But we feel like we got to put on that suit most of the time.
Mental health as it means to me, and it's still something that is now more defined, because now I see the boundaries. Before, I didn't really understand the boundaries of mental health because I didn't know what it was, other than the derogatory words, like when people call you stupid or retarded, or don't be PUSSY, these things that may have worked in some very dysfunctional situations, but that's not fertilizer for growth for most human beings. So the mental health part, I was deployed on the USS JFK back in 2000, right after the unfortunate 9/11 tragedy that hit in New York, the towers. So that changed a lot for me, and that it was the gateway for the things that impacted my mental health that are still very prevalent and relevant today. But when you don't know something, when God dealt with Legion, he called that spirit out them pigs. He didn't say pigs get out the pigs. He called that spirit out and put it in. He took it out of that man, put it in the pigs. So my point is, that spirit, he said, "What is your name?" So I take from that we have to identify things with our mouth. And so I needed to identify that mental health is something I need to speak out loud, in a way that I own it, that it's not defining me, that it ain't something that God can't work through. But when I'm praying, unless I'm speaking in tongues every time I'm praying, which I don't, but I am praying with actual words.
Right.
God, work through this. But I need to know what that is in order for me to say it. Because God knows everything, but the relationship is more key, because I have to go out there and walk it out. It ain't just me magically getting the instructions from God. I have to be a scout. I have to go out there and see what's going on. They had to scout and see the giants and had to come back and bring a report. We have to bring a report. That's necessary. So in order for me to deal and unpack with anything, including mental health, I have to unpack that. So I had to first understand that you got some mental health issues. And I knew that. But the enemy's going to tell you in the outside people who's not a part of your prayer circle, they're going to call you other things that ain't what God calls you. And I lived in that space for a long time. And even to this day, and probably for the rest of my life, thank God that I have enough wisdom to know the importance of renewing my mind. Because in the process of renewing my mind in the morning and throughout the day, I have to call myself what God says. Because sometimes I get on my wife's nerves, and she probably ain't gonna call me a child of God at that time. She gonna call me, her husband that's getting on her nerves right now, and that's okay. I know she still love me. So she still got love for the streets. She pulling out, she's spitting out them babies for me. So I ain't gonna get my feelings crushed in that little moment.
She still got love for you, bro.
She still got love for
I think about that reality of what you just said and just your different journeys and experiences and ownership kept coming out to me. And my friend JT says it this way, man, is that everyone wants the title of a CEO, but the responsibilities of a volunteer. And the reality of it is that we sometimes act as if we're volunteers in our own lives.
Wow.
As if we don't have any sort of ownership. So we run around and we blame everybody and blame everything, as opposed to actually taking ownership for the damage that was done, but the damage that we've caused. And we often run around as if it's not ours. And it's until we take ownership of it that we actually can start to see it change. We can actually start to see it progress and become different in our lives. But many people see it as though it is not a part of them. So I don't have to take ownership of this. So being able to have other people in your life, communities who support you, who are pushing you forward and compelling you to be able to take that ownership is critical if we are to really work toward our mental health. I like to say mental vitality, because mental vitality requires training to build endurance. You have to actually train yourself to think differently, to renew your mind, as you spoke to. We're transformed when we actually train ourselves to think differently. We got to actually take accountability and ownership for that if we really want to see it come to pass.
I love that, man. Yeah, and I had three little bullets when it comes to how I approach mental health as it deals with me. I think that there's one of three different ways that we're going to respond to our own mental health, no matter what deviation of it is, whether you got PTSD, right, whether you're anxious or whatever. You're going to do one of these three things. You're either going to talk about it to someone, like what I'm doing right now with my brother AT. Talk about it, but talk about it with somebody who's going to give real answers, somebody who's going to hold you accountable. Talk about it to somebody who knows something. Don't talk to it about somebody who knows less than you, because all they're breeding is anxiety, not answers, not directions. So talk about it to somebody. And I'm thankful that I've been blessed to have different avenues to do so. Or you're going to be plotting vengeance because you're mad. So if you're not talking about it to somebody, you're harboring it in your spirit, which causes diseasement, because you're still holding on to something that God didn't intend for you to hold on to. And I'm speaking to myself, because that still is something that I have to unlearn. That's part of that religious things that I've had to unlearn. Wow. I don't have to keep harboring that. I don't have to keep accepting what I used to do at a certain point in time. That ain't how God sees me. So making sure that I'm not plotting vengeance and taking accountability, like you were saying. So if I own it, I shouldn't have no reason to be thinking about who else did something wrong, because there's always going to be that. But if you're working on self, we know what the cliche says. You pointing that one finger, but how many of them fingers are pointing back at you? Yep. And if you don't think that way in how you're approaching, these matters, more times than not, you're going to feel defeated. Now, no matter about what the scorecard says, you're going to feel defeated, and that's something that we can avoid. And the third thing is that if you're not plotting vengeance, then most likely, if you're not talking about it and taking ownership, then you're running, ducking, and hiding. You're not even accepting any responsibility, like you were saying earlier. Accepting that responsibility is key, because you can't do anything without naming it. That would be my other way of referring back to it, is that we're putting a name on it. We're calling it Legion and telling the enemy to flee. And that's so as far as my mental health journey, I try to use a version of that to influence my self-talk.
Yeah.
And how the way before I even deal with even my close people, I have to make sure that I'm prayed up, that I'm good. You're my brother, and I know you love me, but it would be irresponsible for me to expect you to have to be the checkpoint of that all the time. Once I know that these things work, I need to be able to rinse and repeat, to do it over again, and not be tired over the journey, because it's going to get boring. It's going to get tired. It's going to be like the same old thing.
Yeah.
Consistency is something that I've really grown to appreciate. That before it'd be like reading a book. That would have been very boring to me. Now that's not the case. So hopefully that answer, man. I know
you speaking to it, man. You speaking directly to it, man. I think I saw a quote that said consistency is something that no one sees until something happens.
Ooh, I feel like playing the Lil Wayne Fireman song.
We might have to, bro.
That's fire. That's fire.
And it hit me because we often build in the dark, and when people see what we've been building in the dark that actually comes to the light, they think it just pops out of nowhere. In terms of mental health, in terms of the vision that God has given you, in terms of the community you've built, or just what you're inspired by and what you're working toward. All these things kind of come to head and to fruition, and you've been building brick by brick. You've been in the trenches, just brick by brick, day in, day out, that consistency. So, bro, this has touched me more than what I could even say, and the reality of being able to just have an authentic conversation around our friendship, around mental health, around men being able to build, bro.
Likewise,
as they say in the South, I can't call it. I can't call it, bro.
Well, brother,
can't call it, man.
It don't take much for me to reach for some any way that I try to describe your character, man. I'm always blessed by even seeing mutual acquaintances, mutual friends that you have, how the way they speak highly of you, how they admire what you are doing currently in your life. They're not living in the past.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of people, they'll be like, oh man, the friends and my acquaintances that only talk about the past because I've been working so hard to move from the past. They may have some good memories. We got some.
Yeah.
But it's short-lived, just like those moments were. So I can't revel in that too long. I don't care what it was. I had great memories. Working at the radio station was one of the biggest breakthroughs of my life.
Yeah.
And it set me up for so many greater things to come after that. So, but I don't, most people, unless they see my tattoos or something, and then they want to start, having small talk. Other than that, I don't live in that space because that's not my reality. This is what it's graduated to now. I may talk about the podcast, but even then, I don't really campaign it like it's like that's the only thing I got going on. But when I am able to do it, brother, these opportunities are what I visualize. Doing it with my peoples, my brothers, my family members. I've had my son in here a couple times that while we're on the air, and he just loves it. I ain't no telling what seeds are being planted from it. But I know that I'd be remiss if I didn't do that, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my brother from another mother. My dog,
man. I appreciate you, bro.
Brother for life here, man. AT, man. And shout out to FSU, man. I don't know what we're finna do this year. We're playing Alabama the first game, but no matter what, fear the spirit, baby.
Come on now, plant that bad boy. Right. We're gonna do it this year, man.
But it's people that's gonna want to find out where you're at, man. What's your social handles? How can they connect with you?
Absolutely, y'all. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can just look up Aaron Tillman. I post on LinkedIn pretty often, just different thoughts on leadership, spirituality, mental health. Just try to do some reflective posts of what's happening in my life. Tilly Talk, get at me there. And I'm AJ Tillman on Instagram as well as on Facebook. You can come find me there. Man, I can't wait to continue to connect with y'all and just continue the conversation. Inspire hope, invoke change.
Love that, man. That's definitely you living there, brother. And this has been a special edition of the Hollywood Red Show.
Hey.
Only on Strategize Network. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and we still working on a couple other avenues. You know, I'm just old and I'm trying to acclimate myself. I ain't TikToking and doing any of them other things. I ain't sliding. I ain't outside. I ain't doing none of that. But we getting there though. And I appreciate everybody that's growing with us. And shout out to everybody that's been blessing us and connecting. I always appreciate the comments. I always appreciate the support. And one thing for sure is that I'm doing everything as if I'm trying to do it under God. So prayerfully it's coming off that way. And if it ain't, just pray for me. Till the next time, we'll have a new Hollywood show coming up this Friday. But until then, man, be blessed. We out of here.
We out.